Matthew depicts Pharisees negatively. In chapter 3, John the Baptizer scolds Pharisees for prioritizing ancestral privilege over repentance. In chapter 22, Matthew changes Mark's admiring scribe, who asked Jesus about the greatest commandment, into a malicious Pharisee who seeks to trap Jesus with a difficult question. Matthew 23 is a diatribe against Pharisees designated as whitewashed tombs and murderers. And in Matthew 22, 15 through 21, Pharisees seek to undermine Jesus' credibility by asking him about Roman policy. While many Christians influenced by Matthew think of Pharisees as legalistic hypocrites, Jews regard Pharisees as respected teachers who made the egalitarian move of extending priestly sanctity to all Jews, and as innovators who helped Jews more fully embrace their tradition. Addressing the Pontifical Biblical Institute in May of 2019, Pope Francis said, "Love of neighbor represents a significant indicator for recognizing affinities between Jesus and his Pharisee interlocutors. Indeed, to love our neighbors better, we need to know them, and to know who they are, we often have to find ways to overcome ancient prejudices." Behind Matthew's negative portrait, sparked by rivalries with Jewish teachers toward the end of the first century, we can imagine a different conversation. The Pharisees' apparently political question, is it lawful to pay the census tax to Caesar, is also a very good theological question. Given how Israel's scriptures present counting people, we can understand why Jews would question the legality of the census tax. Exodus chapter 30, verse 12 states, "When you take a census of the Israelites to register them, at registration, all of them shall give a ransom for their lives to the Lord, so that no plague may come upon them for being registered." And Numbers 31, 48 to 50 makes a similar point. According to 2 Samuel 24, verse 10, David was stricken to the heart because he had numbered the people. David said to the Lord, "I have sinned greatly in what I have done." And the census results in a plague that killed 70,000 people. Recalling this story, 1 Chronicles 21, verse 1 explains that Satan prompted David to take the census. Jewish tradition continues this prohibition against counting the people. One explanation is that taking a census is forbidden, since God promised Abraham that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the heavens, and therefore counting is impossible. But this concern for counting has pastoral implications. A census reduces people to numbers, to commodities, to faceless bodies. Such counting marked the Shoah. It marks death counts in wars and disasters and pandemics. Moreover, the census determined both taxation rates and how many people could be conscripted for the military, and it thus threatened the people both economically and physically. Jesus asked for the coin used to pay the census, a request suggesting he is not carrying one. The silver denarius was inscribed Tiberius Caesar, august son of the divine Augustus, on one side, and Pontifex Maximus, high priest, on the other. Do we see the divine by looking at coins, or do we see the divine by looking at each other, since we all bear the image and likeness of God? In stating, "Repay to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and to God what belongs to God," Jesus asks us to determine what and who belongs to Caesar. The coin with his image, the land his troops occupy, the lives of the people in his empire. Conversely, perhaps we are to think of Psalm 24, verse 1. "The earth is the Lord's and all that is in it, the world and those who live in it." And so we realize that everything belongs to God.